In the old Finnish songs, they call the land Kalevala, where winters teach patience and rivers teach pride. The smoke from birch bark fires rises straight when the air is honest, and the singers remember names longer than kings remember borders. There lived a young man named Lemminkainen, handsome and quick to boast, skilled with a bow and quicker with his tongue. He could make a hall laugh and make a rival angry in the same breath, which is a talent the world rewards until it does not. His mother loved him the way mothers love sons who do not yet know what water can take from the shore. She mended his cloak while he talked of conquests he had not yet made. She listened to his songs and heard the part he left out, the part where the river waits. She told him, "The river of death has no mercy for handsome faces." He laughed and said, "Then I will give it something uglier to remember." He did not understand yet that some waters do not want memory, they want payment. Neighbors said he would marry trouble before he married a wife. He said trouble was only trouble until a bowstring answered it. His mother said, "Trouble is also a current you cannot see from the bank." He kissed her forehead and went out whistling, and the whistle sounded brave because youth always sounds brave until the day it does not. This is the story of Lemminkainen at the river of death, and of the rake his mother carried when the world refused to return her son whole. He went hunting through birch woods where the light fell in thin silver bars between trunks still pale with last year's bark. He crossed burns that chattered over stone and laughed at their small hurry. Squirrels scolded him from branches. He sang old lines to hear his own courage in them, and the forest gave back echo for echo until he believed the day belonged to him. At noon, he came to a wide river that moved slow and black under alder roots, a river that did not look like the friendly streams of home. On the far bank, something called his name, or something that sounded like his name twisted through water until the vowels were wrong. He nocked an arrow and saw no target. He called back once, and the call returned colder. A ferryman in gray stood by a boat the size of a shield. His face had the flat patience of someone who has carried many men who thought they were the exception. He said, "If you cross for more than game." Lemminkainen said, "I cross for whatever waits. That is the mistake the young make when they think daring is the same as readiness." He stepped into the boat. The ferryman pushed off without a song. The current did not hurry. It did not need to. Midstream, Lemminkainen looked down and saw his reflection break and rejoin as if the water were practicing how to take him. The far bank smelled of iron and wet clay, and the reeds stood still as if listening for the weight of a body. On the far side, he hunted shadows more than animals. The ground was soft where it looked firm. Birds did not sing. He told himself that was only the hour and walked deeper into reeds that scratched his legs and held the damp against his skin. He shot at movement and heard laughter that was not human, thin and pleased, as if the miss had been expected. Some tellings say a serpent rose from the mud with teeth like broken ice. Some say a man with one eye shot from the bank and never showed his face. Some say the river itself reached up in a hand of black water and pulled him under for pride. In every telling, the end is the same. Lemminkainen fell, and the river took him, and the water closed over his boast the way water closes over a stone. His bow floated away on the slow current. His song stopped in the middle of a word. What remained on the shore were pieces the river would not swallow whole, cloth and color, and the shape of a life interrupted, and the silence that follows when a mother's worst sentence has not yet been spoken but is already true in the world. The reeds straightened. The ferryman was gone. Only the black water kept moving as if nothing had been asked of it. His mother felt the daybreak wrong before any messenger came. The porridge burned and she did not curse. The dog whined at the door and she did not feed it. She stood in the doorway of their small house and looked toward the river path and knew the way you know when a thread snaps inside the cloth you are wearing. She did not wait for neighbors. She did not wait for gods. She took a rake with iron teeth, the kind used for clearing weeds from shallows, and a cloth for gathering, and walked in the direction sons walk when they forget to come home. Her boots found the path without hesitation. Her back did not ask permission of age. The road was long and ordinary, which is the cruelty of grief. Cows looked up and went back to chewing. Wind moved the birch tops. Children ran past on an errand that still mattered to them. No one stopped her, because Finnish roads have always known women who carry impossible tools for impossible tasks. When she reached the Black River, she did not call his name at first. She looked at the water as if looking could bargain. Then she set her boots at the edge and began to rake. She raked the river the way you rake a field that has hidden what you need. The teeth caught on cloth from his sleeve. They caught on bone that was not yet a story, only weight. They caught on something that was once a shoulder, once a hand, once the face she had kissed when he was small and still believed her when she said the world was survivable. Piece by piece, she drew him to the bank. The work was not magic at first. It was labor, cold and patient, the kind of labor mothers have always done when the world divides their children. The river resisted. The river always resists return. It held a boot one heartbeat longer. It offered a glove and took it back. She did not stop. The sun moved. Her arms ached. Her breath came in clouds. Men would have called it impossible. She called it necessary. The net of her gathering grew until it was a body laid in wrong order on the stones, pale and incomplete and terribly familiar, waiting for what only the old songs know how to finish. She spread the cloth and arranged what she had rescued in the shape of a sun. And even then, she did not weep, because weeping is for afterward when there is time, and she had none. Then the bees came, because Kalevala does not leave restoration to argument alone. They hummed out of the alder shade with honey on their legs, small messengers of the meadow world that had not signed any treaty with death. They settled on the broken form as if they knew which wounds were theirs to seal. Honey ran into the gaps. Honey found the places water had emptied of warmth. The mother watched without interfering. She had done her part with iron teeth and human stubbornness. This part belonged to older powers, small and golden and indifferent to boasting. A bee walked across his closed eyelid and did not frighten her, because fear had already spent itself in the raking. The bees worked until the last gap closed. The body lay whole on the bank, still not breathing, but no longer scattered by the river's appetite. The cloth she had carried was stained with mud and honey both, and the air smelled of summer in a place that had not known summer since morning. Lemminkainen drew breath the way ice draws thaw, slowly, with cracks you hear before you see. Color returned to his face like dawn returning to snow. His fingers moved, uncertain, as if they had to remember what hands were for. His eyes opened and found his mother first, which is the correct order of waking when you have been gathered from death by someone who refused to accept the invoice. He did not boast. The river had taken that from him, or he had finally learned to leave it on the far bank with his floating bow. He said, "You raked me back." She said, "I raked what the river gave." Do not confuse the two again. He looked at the water and did not answer, because some lessons are only learned in pieces on stone before bees make them whole. He sat up slowly. The reeds scratched his palms the way they had scratched his legs when he was alive the first time. He touched his chest as if checking a door was locked. His mother handed him water from her flask, and he drank without thanking her, not from rudeness, but from the shock of lungs remembering air. They walked home along the same road where cows had not cared and birch tops had moved in wind. He leaned on her shoulder when the path demanded it, and she did not make a lesson of it. Neighbors who had not stopped her on the way out stared on the way back and made signs against evil they did not understand. She did not explain. Explanation is for kitchens, not for roads. The tale does not make him a saint after. He still sang, but quieter. He still hunted, but he listened longer before he loosed the arrow. In the old songs, he hesitates now when rivers speak, and his mother keeps the rake by the door, not for daily work, but as a reminder that return is sometimes a verb women must perform alone, while sons learn only afterward. If you remember anything, remember the rake. Remember the bees. Remember that death in these stories is often a scattering, and love is often the work of gathering what the water tried to keep. Remember that the boast dies first, and the mother walks last, and between them, the river keeps what it can. This was Forgotten Fables. This was Lemminkainen at the River of Death. Follow the channel when you want the next country, the next age, the next story the loud world forgot.